This is DJ 745 for WorldofReggae.com, live and direct here at Reggae Jam 2017 with the lead singer Quino from the internationally acclaimed Big Mountain. Welcome.
Nice to be here. Really having a good time.
So I know that you're scheduled to perform later on this 3-day festival that takes place every single year here in Germany for over 20 years. How does it feel for yourself to be performing at Reggae Jam?
Oh, it's an honor, man. You know what I mean? It's a big stage. Every real reggae fan in the world knows about this festival, and just to be surrounded by so many classics and legends, man, it's just really inspiring. Ready to hit the stage, excited.
So is there anyone on this year's lineup that you're particularly looking forward to trying to maybe catch a glimpse of if you get time?
I never get tired of Don Carlos, that's for sure.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, man, I mean, I forget who's on the lineup, but I'm going to stay till the end tonight. I mean, actually, we got an early flight tomorrow, but I'm going to just try to stay as long as I can and just soak it in, man. I'm just, I didn't have a chance to check out the lineup because I knew whatever I was going to witness was going to be good.
Good. Sounds like a good plan to have in your mind. Yeah. Now tell me, this performance that we're going to be looking forward to today, is this part of a bigger European tour that Big Mountain are on?
Yeah, we did about 5 weeks this year, which was nice. We did about 2 weeks last year, and now we're up to 5 weeks. Hopefully, we can even better that next year. It's been a while since we focused on this market, on this region, and it's just nice to get back. We've been going to some new places and then checking out some countries that we already know here in Europe. So it's been great on all kinds of levels, man. It's really having fun.
Now, you as an artist, you've got a very, very rich history. I know that you've been involved in bands in some shape or form for over 30 years. Tell us a little bit about Rainbow Warriors.
Well, this reggae music had a profound effect on me and my friends, my family, musician friends of mine. We were just kids in San Diego, and got wind of this music. It just felt right from the beginning, and really took it on a soul level. We read all the books and studied Rastafari and just black liberation and revolution, and it was one of those experiences that, now being a mature man, I give so much thanks for, man. I mean, I could have been anybody in this world, but I stumbled upon a music that showed me how to live, how to eat, how to talk, how to think, you know what I mean? Really gave me a perspective in this life that I'm so fortunate to have. And that's the story. That's really the story of Rainbow Warriors. That we were just kids, man. Yeah.
What sort of artists were you listening to? Because this must have been the mid-80s when you were probably growing up, listening to music, listening to these new beats from Jamaica. What artists come to mind now that you really sort of attracted you to the powers of reggae music? And they say it's so infectious that once you get caught in it, it's like a bug that you can't get away from you.
Yeah, man. It changes your life, I mean, I can tell you that I never got to see Bob, which was like one of those big regrets that I have in my life. But I was already hep to the sound at that point. I probably was like about 13, I think, when Bob passed away. But of course, I mean, the Wailers, I consider just, one of just such an innovative group, not just on a musical level, but from a spiritual and political level. You know what I mean? They just carry so much weight on so many levels. I don't see how that you could ever think that there's any better band in the world, because they were just so well-rounded, and they represented so many facets of life, that were important to us and taught us so much through their music. But people that were touring through San Diego in those days was like Ika Mouse. I see the Mouse is here, and Freddie McGregor, who ended up becoming a dear mentor of mine, and I meant Sister Nancy, and it was Leroy Sibbles. I mean, it was just so many of those early groups that they did. Frankie Paul, all of these just amazing talent.
And I guess that back then, obviously, we didn't have things like the internet. So, when you were listening and hearing new music, you were probably hearing it in the raw format on a piece of vinyl and things like that. And it probably sounded cassettes as well. Oh my God.
The Jamaican radio shows on the cassettes, and we would just trip out on that stuff. Yeah.
When did this become serious then, from your perspective then? Because obviously, there's a difference between hanging out at high school, maybe playing in the garage of some of friends, garden garage or something, and then you then take that next step towards thinking, right, I want to make this into something bigger than that.
When you start to go and when you have some talent, some raw talent, and you start to go see people on stage, that's what really motivates, I think, all musicians, because there's something about that live performance that you identify with, and it really it gives you confidence, because you see there and you go, this is a human being I'm looking at. You know what I mean? I know it probably took a lot of work, but if that's all it takes, then I'm down with it. You know what I mean? So. I can remember seeing Peter Tosh and Jimmy Cliff together. They toured one year. I think that would have been 1980. And that was, no, I'm sorry. That would have been like around 83, 84. But that was a huge day, because it was in a real nice outdoor amphitheater in San Diego. And Tosh came up, Donald Kingsley on guitar, and then it was Santa, and who I didn't know I was going to be playing with Santa Davis. I was watching him, live, and Foley and Tony Chin, and I was just like, whoa! And I remember that being a real important night for me.
Seasons come and seasons go, all the praises due, all the praises due unto you, Jaja.
I mean, as a band, Big Mountain, I think, formed in 1991, and I know that you've had different, lineups, change obviously in bands, but I think that the crowning glory was 1994, wasn't it?
Well, as far as pop success, yes. As far as confusion in my head, it also won out. it was definitely the craziest year of my life. But one that I wouldn't want to repeat. But maybe the success, but definitely not everything else.
But despite what you're saying to me, that song, number 2 in the UK charts, number 6 on the Billboard 100. That is an achievement. Come on.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a blessing, and we. It's been feeding my children, and a lot of my bandmates' children for a long time. So we give thanks, Peter Frampton and the song, and it was a great experience, But those are major label days, and it all seems so far away now. You know what I mean? It's it was really a kind of a shock to my system after the first couple albums that we did, which were stuff that we produced, and then getting into a major label, it was really challenging. I think it's always challenging for a reggae musician to be on a label, period, but especially a label that's really trying to encourage you to just focus on pop success, so but yeah, it's a great song. We're going to be playing it here tonight. I can't get away without playing that song.
That song, of course, Baby I Love You So, originally by Peter Frampton.
Peter
right,
Frampton.
Yeah. What made you actually cover that song in the first place? Whose idea was it?
It was an opportunity that came to us. It was the Reality Bites soundtrack. Okay. Winona Ryder, Ethan Hawke, and the Peter Frampton song was in the movie, and somebody wanted to do a reggae song, and we got a phone call. We had a hit the previous year with a song called "Touch My Light," and so "Touch My Light" was all over the radio. and somehow they got our number, and we did a demo, and it was history.
There you go. And this was around the time of the album Unity, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure was. Yeah. We were just signing with Warner at that time, and getting that whole experience started.
And you sort of, when you say experience to me, I can just sort of see in your eye that you kind of mean that it was an experience, maybe good and bad, because I know that when you get involved in a major label like Warner, the music politics comes in, and then, you know, your creative direction that you want to take may be different to the label.
Very much, you know, and you know, it was just one of those experiences that teaches you. You can have an idea and a dream and a vision in your head, but you can't just go straight at the vision. Sometimes you got to figure out a way to fool the man, and I didn't do a very good job of that. You know what I mean? It was like reggae and labels don't mix, man. It's just, you know, one of those things. Unless a label really, you know, tries to get into the shoes of the artist, which they never do. They never do. They just want to hit. You know what I mean? And then taking the long approach. Well, now that's what sucks about today. Is like back in the day, there at least were labels that were able to spend money, and the profits were big enough so that they could nurture bands but like we got our, you know, Baby I Love Your Way came out in 94, 95. I already had a CD burner, so it was like everybody saw the whole industry just crash, and within 2 years, labels cut their staff in half, and then 2 years later they cut them in half again. By the time, you know, 98 got around, labels were like a 5-man team. It was just,
I mean, you mentioned a name earlier, Santa Davis. Now, he became part of the Big Mountain setup as well, and also Tony Chin as well. How did this all come about then?
You know, we were just Santa and Tony were living in LA, and something happened with our guitarist. Won't go into details, and our tour manager knew Tony Chin. He gave him a call, and that happened, and that just fit in perfect. And then of course Tony was good friends with Santa, and we lost our drummer, so Santa came in, and we we had 3 great years together, recorded 2 albums. Yeah, man.
Now, I know that you've obviously, like, you know, hit the stage at places like the Reggae Sunsplash in the probably mid-90s or something. That must have been an experience, because come on, back then Reggae Sunsplash was one of the places to perform as far as the reggae live circuit was concerned.
It was. Tony Johnson, that's the man, the greatest reggae promoter ever. And that guy could just, you know, he just knew how to make it all work, and it was right on the clock. It was a well-oiled machine. We always went on time. Everybody was like within 2-3 minutes of you know what I mean, and everything was, if you missed the bus, you fucking had to fly to the next. You had to use your own money to fly to the next city. Yeah. It was that kind of vibe. Tony Tony passed away in I think it was 96, man, and such a blow to the reggae industry. He was one of these people that just really knew how to conceptualize, put lineups together, but he just was such a good businessman, you know what I mean? But in a loving sense. I mean, he really knew how to run the concert business, man. Reggae Sunsplash. That was, you know, every night it was either Third World or Marcia Griffiths or you name it. You know, Maxi Priest. We were getting our asses kicked, man, every night. It was just like, oh my God, no, I gotta play, you know, before or after Maxi or whatever. I mean, it was intense. You know, it was like really intense, very scary sometimes. You know, and but I give thanks for it, because I don't fear anything now.
Well, you probably came out of that a bigger and better person in your own mindset, having experienced something like that.
Absolutely. And then the reasoning, I mean, we were 50, 60 people traveling all across the US and all across Japan and Asia, you know, and Australia we did. So you just had a lot of time together, and sometimes that wasn't a good thing, but usually, you know, it usually you could get some really good reasoning sessions, you know, and you know, just to be around people that just were there. I call them the foundation generation of reggae, you know, the Freddie McGregors, the Judy Moats, you know what I mean? Having touring with them, that was like being in history, man. You know what I mean? And they were all scholars too. They're all scholars. You know what I mean? They're educated. I mean, not educated in the sense that's important. Just so intelligent and just, you know what I mean, and so full of wisdom.
Educated in life, basically.
Absolutely. And of course they're educated, but you know, I mean fuck education, you know what I mean? They were just, you know, just scholars. That's the best way I can say it, scholars, because they, you know, that's the way things were back then, you know what I mean? It's just, reggae was such a different situation than, well, in the U.S. It's beautiful to come here and see this. In the U.S., things are kind of moving in an interesting direction that I'm not sure if I like.
Right, okay. Now, if we fast forward to 2016, Perfect Summer, that was the last album. Now, there was a considerable gap between the album prior to that. Why was that?
You know, life just took a turn, you know, after years of being in a great band and you know, playing with great musicians and having a good amount of success and also having a good amount of, you know, some tough times as well. I always wanted to go back to school, so I went back to university. I studied and I taught high school for almost 8 years.
Really?
Yeah.
That's quite a career change from a reggae artist, a reggae musician, to teaching in high school. What did you teach?
I'm weird, man. I'm weird.
What did you teach in high school then?
I taught mostly like multimedia, audio recording. They asked me to come and build an audio recording studio. This high school did in San Diego. So I just, you know, taught video and got to be part of the whole media, the media facility of that school. And it was just, you know, it was just, I don't know what I mean. You got to follow your heart, man. You know what I mean? And I just wasn't feeling touring, and I needed a break, and I'm glad I did, because now I'm really enjoying this.
What does the rest of 2017 have in store for Big Mountain?
You know what, we're going to be, it looks like for the next couple months we're going to be focusing on recording videos and stuff like that, just try to catch up on that. It looks like we're going to Brazil in November, and quite possibly like New Zealand and Australia in the wintertime, South America. Try to go catch summer when it's winter.
On the other side.
Yeah, go catch summer on the other side.
Well, look, Quino, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today for World of Reggae. We give thanks for your time today and sharing a little bit of your history as well. And we hope you enjoy the performance, not just tonight, but on the coming weeks in the tour as well. One love.
Thank you, brother. One love. Thank you, everybody. Love and respect every time.